I think first I'll give a brief description of like what the process is supposed to be like, right? So for a chain to be launched on the Cosmos Hub on replicated security, it needs to have first like the part of the code that makes it possible, and two, it needs to have the approval of the Cosmos Hub. And so roughly speaking, you have a proposal on the Cosmos Hub. That proposal is a specific type. It contains specific information that tells the cross-chain validation module on the provider chain, so the Cosmos Hub, and the consumer chain or partner chain, e.g. Neutron, what the validators are, what the chain ID is going to be, all of this like technical parameters that make it possible. And when the proposal is accepted, what happens is that on the Cosmos Hub, there's a light client that's created, and it creates the CCV state, e.g. It's like a part of the blockchain's initial state that you need to have in the Genesis file in order for the chain to know sort of like what's the initial stage for the first block, so that it's able to start validating blocks and then get connected to the hub over IBC. And so the main thing that like that process has been sort of involved because a lot of the processes around how to do this properly, how to like make the governance proposals, how to participate in the testnets, how to rehearse what were the communications template for a lot of these stuff, what information needed to provide, was needed to be provided. All of these things were sort of like ironed out throughout the process, not just by our team, but all of the teams that were involved, like everyone who worked on the Cosmos Hub, all of the validators, IFA, Informal, and others. And so like they've come a long way since sort of like the start of this process. And I do believe that like having Neutron sort of like crash test this whole thing in production will have helped tremendously, like the next change to actually have a much smoother experience. In our case, we had like one major sort of like complication, which was that validators like in general don't want to use the same key for running multiple chains for the sake of isolating risk, right? And so there's a function in ICS that allows the validators of the Cosmos Hub to assign a new key for their consumer chain node. Normally that needs to happen before the end of the proposal, because the state, the Genesis state that we mentioned just before, it needs to have this information. The new key needs to be in that file, and that file is created when the proposal passes and the light client is created. It's not updated afterwards. But on the hub, when Neutron launched, actually there was a bit of a complexity where an edge case that hadn't unfortunately been covered during testnets was discovered, and so some folks were having troubles assigning keys with multi-sigs or with ledgers.